Hey guys, this is Collin Moshman for CardRunners.com. Today we have live four-tabling of the 18-mans on PokerStars. We have different buy-ins up from the 350s to the 15s, and I also have tables going on the side, so in case I spew it off on some of the feature tables, we'll just bring up the side tables and have plenty of action to get through. On one of these tables, right after I brought it up, doubled in an early hand. 6-queen suited, we can go either way. I'll go ahead and fold, but a lot of the time I would open there. But we'll just take a look at the hand I doubled, which was a somewhat close spot. So it starts off when a MP1 limper comes into the pot. I have jacks, so it's going to be a standard raise. My raising range here is going to be approximately 8s, ace-jack suited, ace-queen off, maybe a little bit wider depending on the player, but at least that wide. And the big blind 3 bets, and this is a pretty close spot. And the biggest thing is that if we don't have too much to go in, I'm going to depend a little bit on just knowing the buy-in. So against an unknown in the 3, this is effectively, despite this limper, a blind versus blind spot. So this isn't a fist pump, but I'm not going to fold here. And because the pot is already quite large at this point, I just went ahead and 4-bet shoved and ended up winning a flip. Now, one thing also about the 18-man structure is that flipping early is not as bad as it is in a 9-man. So at the first table, as an approximation, we're going to go based on CEV mode. So we're going to look to maximize our chip EV and accumulate chips. And as a result of that, flipping is not quite as bad as it would be in a 9-man, where we wouldn't want to get involved in a 50-50. So, not to say in an 18-man you do want to flip without an edge, but it is going to be different when we're not focusing too much on the ICM component until the second table, where it's going to have a pretty significant impact. And the biggest factor is going to be, at that point, there's going to be a lot more shove fold, particularly in the turbos, and we're generally going to be calling tighter, but often shoving wider depending on the dynamic, so particularly when we're able to eliminate or cripple the guys we're shoving into. This ace-jack suited, I'm not c-betting. This is a really coordinated flop, and I'm just going to check fold here. So I'm definitely c-betting the majority of the time, and I'm going to bet now. And the reason why I'm going to bet is because I think it's unlikely that he has a pair, so I often actually have the best hand here. So I'll bet for the purpose of protecting ace high and also not getting bluffed off the hand. And when he raises, I'm just going to get out of the hand. So c-betting wouldn't be crazy there, but generally when we have 2 Broadway cards on the flop and we've dismissed, then I'm going to tend to give up against most opponents. Pocket queen suit, I'm going to flap by process of elimination. We raise pre. There's really no point in raising. We could just fold, but when he donk bets a bit more than a third of pot, I think we're good often enough. So our plan is to flat flop. If he bets turn again anything substantial like he does here, we're out of the hand. And otherwise, I will go ahead and bet with the flush draw. But if there hadn't been 3 to a flush out there, I would just check back for pot control and look to show down cheaply. So in spots like that, it really just comes down to the sizing. Our opponent's sizing. When he sizes small, we're going to be a lot more inclined to float with possibly the best hand. And ace-6 we're going to toss. And 10-7 facing any kind of raise, so be out of the hand. Unless the small blind raises small, in that case I would call in position. And that's one thing, when you fight a guy who's min-raising a lot in the small blind, you can profitably defend very wide in the big blind, getting 3 to 1 or close to it with position against a player who's likely to be on a wide range if we have that read. Now, the HUD we have up is going to be VPIP, PFR, 3-bet, C-bet, name, number of big blinds in stack, fold to C-bet, number of hands, and BB, fold to steal. Queen 10 is a standard open in the small blind. Generally at 15-30 or when the effective stack is around 50 blinds, I'm going to be 2.5xing. The main exception is in the small blind where my default is going to be to 3x as we're out of position and are a little more inclined to end the hand early when possible.